Hello, everybody, and welcome to our second and final series of the day. We've got Danish Bears versus Team Finem. I'm Llama Down Under, joined by Scant. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Actually, I
10
think the last
seconds
time I cast with
remaining.
you, you were making the point that these are two teams that you're
Yes,
excited
5
about.
seconds
So,
remaining.
it's,
I'm I'm actually really hyped up for this match because Advenum's been performing very well. They've taken some games,
Radiant
like
team
they've
ban.
managed to take games off of some really big name teams,
Dire team
like
ban.
Liquid. Like I think they've done one against Navi. Don't quote me on that. And also Danish Bears. I wasn't initially, so I was expecting them to get stomped 2 days ago by Tornado Rocks, and they beat them in a dominant fashion. Tornado
10
Rocks X
seconds remaining.
Fantastic Five. So yeah, pretty excited for this one.
5 seconds
yeah,
remaining.
I think it's the old Lana conspiracy that beat Navi, not that Venom. I mean, it's easy to
Reserve
confuse them
time.
because the new Lana conspiracy
Yeah.
that beat Navi, not the old one.
No, there's a
The
lot
the
of
two
teams.
the two interesting bits of immediate context for me when I was researching this matchup is firstly, Adfinum just lost right before this. They were playing against Team Alternate in the grand final of the Game On Invitational, and they just lost there. So maybe coming off like a big loss in a grand final like knocks their confidence, or they're just tired, drained. At the same time, actually, Adfinum played against Danish Bears. I think it was yesterday or the day before,
Mhm.
in the previous round of that same tournament, and Adfinum beat them. And actually, Danish Bears, since basically the entire month, they've been on this crazy run where they win every match, and the only match they've lost this month is that one against Adfinum. So on the one hand, you've got the matchup from what we know, Adfinum won, although it was 2-1
Mhm.
the previous
Radiant
time they played.
team pick.
On the other hand, we've got that Adfinum are coming out of a big series, which they did actually lose also 2-1 right
Dire
before
team
this.
pick.
So both factors that maybe could play into the run-in. Already we see, I think, something kind of unusual in the bans with Danish Bears banning out the Nature's Prophet in the first phase.
It's something they go for a lot. They got in the series against Advenum that happened yesterday for Game On. It was Skylark on that Nature's Prophet twice. So they banned it out in the third game. They're going to see
10
if they can get
seconds
rid of it again
remaining.
here. It's clearly something Advenum are very comfortable with. So getting rid of
5
it. But
seconds
we see
remaining.
a Chen coming out, and
Yeah,
always a strong pickup.
and in the I mean, it's funny. It's a bit of a throwback because they banned the
Dire team
Enchantress, and
pick.
I actually think that for Danish Bears, Rise plays Enchantress. I don't think they do offlane Enchantress. Maybe they do both. I'm sure I've seen Rise play it. Um, but it's interesting just because back in the day there used to be this thing where teams that pick Chen wanted to ban Enchantress because otherwise Enchantress comes and fights you in the jungle. That doesn't really happen anymore in Dota at all. But it's kind of just like cute that they happen to ban the Enchantress and pick the Chen. Might not be related at all.
I think it's also really
Radiant
interesting
team
in
pick.
that last series against Advenum, Danish Bears, each time they banned the IO first round. And here they go for the Nature's Prophet as we talked about. I mean, these are very similar bans to what they've done before, but this time the IO gets through. They get it
Radiant
themselves,
team ban.
along with the Coddle, and I mean, a couple teams right now
Dire
are running the
team
Keeper of
ban.
the Light, but it's not a super popular pickup.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good with the Wisp. This is actually like a Um, everyone talks about Alliance, so back 2013 Alliance, original like Stompy Alliance, ran Coddle
10
Wisp as a
seconds
support duo
remaining.
many times at TI3, where they were like destroying everyone. There's like a
5
combination
seconds
involved,
remaining.
obviously. Cottle's really good at like sustaining and pushing waves out on its own, whereas Wisp doesn't do a whole lot of that.
Reserve
Also,
time.
obviously using Chakra Magic on Wisp while tethered to someone, you're gonna give them like monstrous amounts of mana. Then there's the fact that you can recall someone to you, and Wisp can relocate someone else in. And so it's like all you really need is the Keeper of the Light and one other hero, and then essentially your whole team's there. So it's not
Radiant
that
team
surprising to
ban.
see that combination of support heroes. There's obviously an inherent weakness, which is that neither of them really has a stun, and they don't. I mean, Coddle's sort of got a stun, and Whisper's sort of got a slow, but really, in
Dire
most situations,
team
they don't
ban.
have either. And so you have to build your cores around the fact that your supports aren't doing those things that supports very often do.
Now, interestingly enough, I mean, as you said, these teams just played a set yesterday. Coddle plus the Night Stalker is
10
something
seconds
Danish Bears has
remaining.
been running. A lot of people don't think it has synergy, but you just don't build the Ags on the Coddle. It's fine. You
5
just,
seconds
I
remaining.
mean, the Night Stalker's Ags upgrade is much better, and you just make it almost perma nighttime with that. So it'll
I've
be
seen them do it
Dire
actually. I've
team
I've
pick.
seen them go Coddle, Night Stalker, and both build Ags, and
oh
it's just like
Did
no matter
it-
what the time of day is, they've got perfect vision. That's
How long did the games last? Because all the games I've seen that Danish Bears have run it so far, it hasn't lasted long enough that they've gotten that up.
yeah, it was. I think that was like a 45-minute game or something, and the Coddle Ags was shortly before they won, so it wasn't really. Yeah, it doesn't really say that much. Fair enough.
10 seconds
Now-
remaining.
They've got for
Five
for
seconds
pickups next.
remaining.
Danish Bears are big fans of picking up. I mean, they try a lot of different cores, but I think it's
Reserve
safe
time.
against the Chen to try and get the gyrocopter. Isn't banned out yet. They're going into reserve time. Okay.
Radiant team.
OD
They're
it
gonna pick
is.
Yeah, so this is like a never run out of mana strategy. I can't remember who I saw doing this. I think I saw Alliance do a draft that had an OD and a Crystal Maiden a few days ago. And this is a similar kind, like OD, add Kotzil and Wisp. It's like,
Dire
whatever those
team
last two
pick.
heroes are, they can just always have infinite mana. Which makes me think that like maybe they were thinking about something like Bristleback, which is good against the Chen, decent against the Beastmaster. And Bristleback's well known to be a hero that people like to pick with heroes that give mana. But with the Viper pickup, it's actually a really good deterrent of picking Bristleback. Like, Viper's one of the better heroes against Bristleback. You can just Viper Strike, you can kite him
10
all day.
seconds remaining.
It's the first one that sprung to mind for me is the Bristleback, but it could be there could be other
seconds
things they're going
remaining.
for. But I strongly suspect that at least one of their last two heroes will be something that benefits from never running out of
Reserve
mana.
time.
Yeah, it's a really interesting. You mentioned it's never run out of mana. Trying to think of cores that really benefit from that. As you said, Bristleback springs to mind. There aren't a whole bunch of carries super in the meta right now. Like, sure, Gyro, the Rocket Barrage has a short cooldown, but it's not. It doesn't scale as well as something like the Spines from Bristleback. So, but Team Advenum, I mean, this Viper's just trying to win the lane, and another Legion Commander. I need to do some stat pulling because I don't know what triggered it, but Legion Commander has been picked up a lot recently.
Legion Commander is just like an amazing hero. It's you know what happened? All the professionals are watching my pubs, and they're like, "Hey, this guy picks Legion all the time. We gotta pick her." No,
Actually,
not
Ortizi's
really.
been spamming her in 8K MMR land. So
You're
I
saying
don't.
that I'm Arteezy.
No, I'm just.
I will
I'm
accept
saying.
that compliment.
I was more saying that I think maybe there is something going on where someone has decided that Legion is good and picking her up. Of course, Oracle a good counter.
Radiant
So
team
so
back.
Complexity started picking it recently in pro games, like in the I don't know 4 or 5 days ago. I don't know if maybe they're like got something going, and I think they play it both support and offlane. I mean, remember eHome actually played Lanham played supports Legion Commander in like the
10
grand finals
seconds
of Mars
remaining.
TV, so that could have been something that I think that when a team like dominates a tournament and
5
uses a
seconds
certain
remaining.
pick, everyone wants to try it. But that was a very strange support Legion, which didn't even farm the jungle much. He literally was a support.
Reserve
What I've
time.
seen Complexity do mostly, I'm sure it is Complexity, is they actually run a Legion Kotal dual lane. And so I don't think it's coincidence that we see the Kotal here. I sort of expect the OD to be mid, them to pick one hero to go at the Wisp in the safe lane and actually do that Legion Kotal dual lane. Dual lanes are very in at the moment, and Legion plus Kotal is like an exceptionally strong dual lane. You can just spam the overwhelming odds. Obviously, Legion having that hill means that like you convert mana into HP when you need to. So you've got all the ingredients you need. And Adfinem
Dire
recognized that
team pick.
it's just the Wisp combo that's still needed, and they ban out the Tiny. Although, as I say that, you can actually run the Wisp with the Legion as well. That's another possibility. Like right at the beginning when Legion first came into Dota 2, people used to do that in pubs a lot. Wisp and Legion in the off lane and just diving your tower all the time with the tether and overcharge. Sorry.
Yeah, it's not the most traditional of
10
Kotal Legion
seconds remaining.
combos, but it can certainly get the job done. And holy Hannah, this is not.
Radiant team pick.
That's the carry that benefits from infinite mana.
Oh
like
my goodness.
better than any carry for pretty matches.
Yeah, but how do you? Okay, so here's the thing: you can't proc Essence Aura with Mono Shield toggle. You have to proc it with the snake. I guess you can keep trying to snake, just like keep throwing the snake to try to proc Essence. This is so
You
weird.
spam Medusa ulti whenever it's ready.
Oh my
Just
gosh.
ulti for mana.
I'm sorry, guys. We had a bit of a break between the games, and clearly we were a mess. We're gonna see the Weaver. So this is actually they picked a Weaver into a Legion Commander. That's a bit ballsy.
It's very good against Wisp. That's why I picked it. I think Weaver's one of the best heroes. At like at the start of a fight, you find the Wisp, you just burst it down, and it's out. And that's kind of what you need to do when you're playing against a lineup of the Wisp. it's like I think well understood in the pro community at this point that you don't usually win team fights against a team with the Wisp unless you deal with the Wisp early on in the fights. So I think you're right. I think you're right that Legion's pretty good against Weaver. At the same time, Weaver does naturally build into Lincolns, and that is like the number one counter to Legion Commander in the whole of Dota. Like heroes with Lincolns, Legion has to just like pretend they don't exist or something.
10
That's
seconds remaining.
it's actually very awkward. There isn't a natural item she can buy that takes off
5
Lincolns.
seconds
You have to like
remaining.
buy a Diffusal Blade or Force Staff or something, or you have to be ganking with someone else. But then like the blink on you out of fog thing doesn't really happen anymore.
I think, yeah, this
Prepare
is really
for
interesting. It's, I like it. As you said, the Lincoln's obviously is going to be there. There's also the Oracle interaction where False Promise and Time Lapse have some synergy. It's not quite because it's 5 seconds, but you can make it work, you know? I think the Time Lapse and the False Promise.
I mean, I just think Oracle spells in general plus time lapse is gonna be confusing interactions. But I mean, they have a Viper who's gonna buy mech as well. They've got a Chen, so they're gonna get a lot of value out of False Promise in this game for sure.
Yeah, I
Well,
really
look at
like it.
this,
It's an odd
dropping
lineup
the
though.
ward.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little confused by what Danish bears have, but I get it. Obviously, you can always relocate in for the Legion Commander duels. You can also
30 seconds to battle.
try to save the Legion Commander, right? If things are going wrong, you can have Ping Vishak, Astral Imprisonment. This is a lot of nice things.
So the Oracle's done very well to hide the Observer ward, but yeah, Legion Commander knows, and that's literally what they're discussing. Both of them dropped their Observer ward, went and showed themselves to each other, and then went back and picked it up to try and like juke each other, but
The
they're
battle
wise to
begins.
each other's act.
It's also something
Um,
where if these teams have done their homework on each other, Adfinem plays this ward really commonly.
Well, Keep of the Light does have a sentry ward, and we'll be heading to that lane. What the lane that I expected the Kotal and Legion Commander, and it's a lane that I think Purdy gives the Oracle and the Wisp, the Oracle and the Weaver quite a lot of trouble if they play it correctly. I think that they could actually win this lane, and despite the fact that they're kind of the off laners.
Yeah, the Oracle's trying to stop them, and oh my goodness, just shy. He actually pinged right here. He pinged right there, and put his ward a little too low. So, now talk about this mid matchup. Some who generally is going to win out between the Viper and the OD, both lane dominators.
I mean with the old OD, it used to be just kind of like they both farm. I feel like Viper wins these days, especially because part of the old OD strategy was like you just keep spamming Astral and you get really strong. But now that Astral deals damage, it's actually gonna be like once the Viper has corrosive skin, you're gonna have like extra damage being dealt to you every time you use the Astral. So that's not gonna help you. And when you right click, same thing. Although they're going for some kind of something here. I don't really know.
I think
Just some hits.
yeah, just some harassment. It's also a lane where IO hasn't been spending much time in top. I think trying to get some sort of stacks going, because Medusa can potentially farm that. But speaking of Medusa, Ace is about to be wrapped around on Hellbear Smasher at the ready. There's also axes. That shield is up and, oh, knows there's no way to stop the TP away. Nice early pickup from Ace.
And Medusa didn't TP base. Ace TP to his tower, right? Yeah.
Madara popping that salve. Noya going to be our first blood after they almost get the kill on Legion Commander in the bottom lane. So instead they get the first blood on Connell.
That's interesting. Did you see how Oracle used Fate's Edict? Was it to like dodge damage from the Kotal, or was it to stop the Legion from attacking?
They used it on Noya, actually, really oddly. They used the Fortune's End on Legion Commander. I think it had been used maybe as well on Legion Commander because they only caught the tail end of that engagement.
Okay, yeah. Because I can't really think of why he'd cast that spell on the Kotal in that situation.
Oh, the Weaver was
Yeah,
really low. The Weaver was at like 3 health as
Oh,
well.
okay.
Both sides got incredibly low.
Well, fair enough. Well,
And it might be
I
happening
kind of
again.
expected the Legion Kotal to do a bit better in this lane, but now that things have started well for the Weaver and Oracle, I think things will keep going well for them. Especially, I mean, Legion Commander hasn't even got any points and pressed the attack yet, so defensively they're a lot weaker. I think there's something more versatile about the Weaver Oracle lane at this point where they can react to being gone on or they can go in. Whereas the Kotal and Legion have built themselves so that they actually want to be going for kills.
Yeah, Weaver +1. Now, this is something Weaver, we used to see him in the off lane a lot. There's obviously a couple of cores who really enjoy playing him. Oh, they're maybe gonna go on to the Oracle. Again, this Legion Commander's taking a lot of damage here, and as you said, no points in press the attack, so their sustain really lacking for Danish Bears.
Yeah, and maybe next time I've just realized part of the combo here is maybe next time uses Fortune's End to take off the overwhelming odds speed.
Oh,
So Legion Commander can like charge in overwhelming odds and feel really confident, and then as she like runs at you, get purged, and all of a sudden she's in no man's land. So that might have had something to do with what happened with the initial kill, because I saw it happen there and I was like, oh, if I'm a Legion in that situation, it's anxiety provoking to all of a sudden not have haste. But
and they do manage to get the kill in mid. Thug was about one attack away from killing off that OD for a while there, and finally gets the attack uphill. So Danish Bears not doing so great in any of their lanes. Medusa also having trouble up top, of course, because the Chen is coming out of the woods. They're kind of losing all three.
they are also the team with the late game, like very, very, very definitely. So it's in some way like if they were to be crushing the lanes to start with, or even just like ahead in the lanes, and they have the late game, that's when you start talking about like just a clear outdraft. Whereas I think typically if you think a team quite clearly has a late game advantage with their picks, then you expect them to struggle a bit in the early game.
Oh, Weaver's giving it a go again on bottom lane. She immediately poached that off with press the attack. Tries to slow down Madara, but he just needs one more dominate attack. Not quite able to get Noya, who escapes on 9 health. Although in the top lane, they do kill off Medusa.
Yeah, so I mean, it actually starts to make a lot more sense if you look at like Danish Bears maybe had been hopeful that they'd get some good value out of their lanes. But like Medusa's difficult to kill, but honestly Beastmaster's a very difficult offlaner to lane against, especially if you don't have a lot of supports, and she wasn't going to have any.
Oh,
Thug might be in trouble. This might actually be a kill for Danish
they
Bears.
should be able to get it. No uphill miss for Thug, and even if there were, the balls coming out of their stand-in should have been
So-
enough damage.
I mean, one of the reasons Kotal's been picked typically in the past was actually to stall games and just like total let your greedy heroes get their farm. And Medusa's almost always been picked for those kinds of drafts. Wisp is caught out in the jungle by Chen. So there's a lot of elements to Danish Bears draft which make you think that if they're not doing too terribly and the game goes like kind of late-ish, they'd be pretty strong. But as things stand, the momentum is definitely favoring Finem, and if they can keep that momentum going, Danish Bears really actually struggle. If like OD and Legion aren't able to get their core items before the fights start happening, there's not going to be a whole lot that their team can do.
Additionally, it does feel like this is an excellent time to pick up the Beastmaster, right? He's got Necronomicon, or will have it soon. That's going to drain a lot of mana from the Medusa. I mean, I'm not... And is there an easy target for relocating onto Duel? Because if you don't get the Chen, then you're going to have Hand of God coming out. And if you do get the Chen, maybe the Oracle's nearby to False Promise?
Yeah, there isn't... I mean... I'm not... Yeah, the easy targets will be whoever they can catch like off on their own split pushing, but the chances are that only the Weaver's going to do that this game, and Weaver's definitely going to head towards the Lincolns. So I kind of agree with you. Like for me, it's just I'd rather frame it as being about the timings and the, you know, like do they get their key items? Well, that's a nice mana leak actually on Weaver.
Ooh, has the time lapse already. Now returning a bit of damage. I don't know if anything's going to happen. Wow, we have a lot of stuff being spammed towards people. It's really funny seeing one give the other the overwhelming odds, and then the mana comes out as well, the chakra.
Yeah, it's the classic. People used to lane like keep all alive with anything that has some healing effect. It's just like, cause cool, we can like go infinite or whatever. It's pretty cheesy, but top lane is definitely gonna be action. Your Chen's wrapping around.
Yeah, Primal Roar expended onto Ace. Now the IO trying to heal up Ace using that tether. There's no support rotations coming in. Ace just going for the walk it away, and they may actually get out here. There's going to be a stomp. The net is on cooldown. The stomp also very difficult to land, and the tether over. Gonna get them both out safely.
Of course, Medusa's snake got buffed recently. not talked about that often, but you don't have to like target creeps anymore. You can just go straight onto the hero and you still get the full mana steal always.
Yeah, not something where I think she's... Oh, okay, never mind. OD manages to kill off the Viper again. As I'm trying to see whether though... I just don't think there's a good way to catch Madara here. Oh, and no TP rotations are coming in. The Oracle is going to be here with the Fortunes, and the cooldown not quite on the right. And Noya, one more auto attack going to pick off that Coddle. Going for the TP out. Should be able to get this. But still, this bottom lane, they're just not doing the work they'd like to.
Yeah, things are not going the way that Danish bears want them to go. Like the one positive thing is that their ODs managed to kill the Viper twice. Once with help, once without. And that's very, very important actually, because OD really is a hero that struggles to farm its way back into the game. It needs to get sort of key farm early on in lane, get that value, and then become operational. But I don't know if, like I said, I think the OD is not enough. It needs to be the OD and the Legion. If the Legion gets a blink and OD's got, I don't know, 4-star for 8 or something, then they can definitely be making plays, making space for Medusa.
Oh, Fortune's End's gonna fly out again. It's purged off. Noya taking a lot of damage. We have a duel as well onto Oracle. Oracle taking too much damage from the creeps. And at the same time, it looks like, okay, the Coddle does go down. Io also goes down to Beastmaster on the top lane. He's still chasing down Ace, has that level 1 Necronomicon up. There is no TP support. Ace can't TP out because there's no mana. And so, this is just a dead Medusa.
So it's probably a win for Danish bears the bot lane, trading support for support given the situation the lane's in, and getting a duel win. But they lose on the top lane and mid lane. Pimvinchek is going to get away. If he had died, that would have been pretty disastrous for them. It's already quite bad for the Medusa to die, but I think it's worth stressing that the OD and the Legion are actually more important. The Medusa's plan is to like farm when those two make space for, I think. So if they can't make space, then like she's gonna struggle anyway, regardless. So it's more important for Danish bears to get the key items on those two heroes.
Yeah, they're falling behind. It's only it's almost 4,000 gold at 10 minutes. That's not actually devastating. I mean, it's bad, but as you said, their lineup was expected to be behind at this point, and it's not the, 1,000 gold behind per minute that's just GG, but it's still not great. And now, Sispotin wrapping around, they're going in for it. Io is going to be picked off here. Can Io find some way away? Actually tethers forward, is inside that Astral Imprisonment, still not dead yet. Looking for a duel win here onto something. Io finally goes down, gets the duel onto Sispotin. That's a DD Chen, doesn't matter, it turns out. So they do find something here. A good exchange again for Danish bears.
Pretty rare for a DD to matter on a Chen, I think, in general. Madara's chasing off the Ace, but no, I think's better of it and runs away. I mean, OD has monstrous damage, and so it makes sense to combine with the Legion. Like, anytime you duel someone with the OD nearby, they're gonna die for sure. And that is now Legion halfway to her Blink Dagger, more or less.
Do you rush that here over the Blade Mail, even with Relocate? Oh, crap. Primal Roar in the mid lane. Pingvishak taking a lot of damage. Gets off the Astral Imprisonment. Io has come in. They throw out the Coddle Blast. Trying to see if they can do anything. Immediately, the Tether, the Sanity's Eclipse, it doesn't do nearly enough damage.
Yeah, I think OD was just hoping the Wisp could kill him enough that he can like get some right clicks afterwards as well. Sometimes the Wisps do crazy saves like that. People like miscommunicate, stop attacking, thinking the person's gonna die, and then they keep getting healed. But to answer your original question, yes, I expect it to be a Blink Dagger Rush on Legion rather than the Blade Mail. Partly because of reasons you were describing earlier, like it's difficult to relocate onto people and actually successfully kill them. It's a lot easier if you can blink out of fog onto them, that instant disable. Especially when you're behind in a game, I think to like use relocate as your initiation just seems risky. Well, there's a kill attempt to the bot lane, there's a duel, and this might actually be it if there's enough procs.
Oh nope, and there it is. The Hand of God comes out. There's gonna be an attempt to do more damage, but the fountain healing up, I don't think that... Oh, it does get it in the fountain. Wasn't enough time.
Yeah, because of that last moment of courage proc, I think probably did it.
Now, Pingvicek in a lot of trouble up top, has the Astral Imprisonment, but he is dead no matter what, so we'll just see him fall. Yeah.
So something, for some reason, I mean, I'm gonna say this and a lot of people watching this probably think it's very obvious, but for some reason a lot of people don't seem to know this, that Legion Commander's Moment of Courage works like Axe's counter helix.
Yep.
So it's the person that you're attacking doesn't have to be attacking you back. Like, you could be right-clicking, like there, she was right-clicking the Oracle, and they were just creeps attacking Legion Commander, and it could still proc the extra attack onto the Oracle. So a lot of the time people think like, oh, that Legion's really lucky getting all those procs, but if you're inside a lot of creeps when you're dueling someone or right-clicking someone, you are going to get a lot of procs because there's lots of things hitting you that can trigger it.
Yeah, and it's also something where part of why you're good against the Chen, obviously, is the overwhelming odds. We're going in for an attempted duel here. Needs to gap close, gets it off onto Thug. Oracle is here, though. The False Promise on cooldown, so they should be able to get this duel win. No. To get the kill, no duel win. Primal Roar out onto the Io. Io blown up immediately. Overwhelming odds comes out, does quite a bit of damage, but Pingvachek again in a lot of trouble. Legion Commander, you can try to heal him up. Blinding Light comes out. There are so many units though, and the Boar, I think. No, Oracle ends up getting that kill. Now the Legion Commander purges off these attacks again. Ace gonna come in, what, throw out a Wheel Snake? I don't know what a Medusa can do at this point. And yeah, we can see the snake bouncing around, but it's very little impact. The Legion Commander trying to run it off. False Promise coming out. Healing up, Skylark, Legion Commander blinks away, and Ace just walks it off. Actually, there's gonna be a Fortune's End that doesn't hold for terribly wrong. Madara coming around from the sidelines. Everybody can see this. We do have a duel up in 5 seconds. Time lapse used, and I think that's the end of this engagement.
Yeah, that's just because it's a Medusa. Medusa is actually such a tanky hero, and it's like often misleading because you're not used to calculating based on mana shield, and so you just click on the hero and you're like, hey, 788 HP, that's so weak, but actually no, it's very difficult to just like casually dive and pick up a Medusa.
No, she hasn't had the greatest of time. She's 5th on the net worth chart. She's also a natural. Okay, we're just gonna duel Spartan while he's standing there taking all this damage. His creeps around. They're gonna get all the creeps too from the Chen. That is a nice bounty.
Yeah, so Legion Commander is gonna head to that Blade Mail next, I'm pretty sure, and it's not too far off actually after these 2 successful kills since getting the blink. Only one of them is a duel, but still. Obviously, Weaver's gonna have Lincolns probably before Legion even has Blade Mail, so there's gonna be one hero that's kind of like off limits in terms of picking off. We'll need the help of an ally, or need like long range mana leak or something. But speaking of.
Yeah, Skylark, he's got the Primal Roar. Who's he going to use it on? I think he really wants to make sure he gets it. Oh, okay. There's the ult coming out from Ace. Everybody's trying to look away. Ace being healed back up now by both of them. And this should be the disengage. Madara coming in with the DD, trying to poke at someone, loses most of his mana. There is the False Promise onto Rotterdam, but again, so much damage coming out from this overwhelming odds. And they're at a standstill.
Medusa's full HP and mana. She's just like, we start to see Danish Bear's strategy. It's like,
they just don't stop.
Heal.
Like, there's no reason to. They're going in again. Here's the Hand of God, so now the sustain coming out from Finem, and the Viper tries to kill a Pingvachek. One more auto attack will do it. There's the False Promise, and the time lapse coming out from the Weaver. They just want to disengage after that one kill.
Yeah, the problem is they still can't do enough yet. I mean, Keeper of the Lights is level 7, but has 1 level in Illuminate. Legion Commander doesn't have Blade Mail yet. OD went down, got focused, and those are like the sources of damage. Wisp is not really creating much damage, Medusa's not creating much damage. So we saw a moments of like, this is what Danish Bear's draft is all about. When they get to their final form, Medusa's just gonna be totally unkillable, and Medusas that are unkillable win games. But they need to first get to that point where they've got the damage output, because being unkillable only does so much if you don't do any damage.
Yeah, they are facing into a level 3 Necronomicon on the Beastmaster. Of course, there's a good bit of sustain on Finem as well. I was just surprised to see it go for so long. The mech should be up soon on Chen. They might wait a little bit on Finem, try to finish up some items.
Oh, this OD could be in big trouble.
Yeah, he's got some support wrapping around in the coddle. I don't know if that's enough. Goes for the last hit. Gonna take a little bit of damage there. Oh gosh, Astro and Prison's won. The Primal Roar not quite in range. And now more coming in. They go for the dual damage. Are they actually gonna win this one? Madara coming back in. They don't quite have the damage. They do get the kill. Lincoln's is popped, but they're losing the Legion here. What is she running away? No, she's not. Oh my goodness, she is. She almost lives there. Bug ends up killing her off, and Madara looking like he's ready to get a double kill.
Yeah, so I mean, I thought that was pretty brave, actually. Like, sure, we said already, Legion Commander dueling someone with OD attacking, you're definitely gonna win the duel. But in the context of, like, OD just barely survived, they're busy ganking you. I don't know if that's the time for you to go for that duel, because it commits you to a position where you actually, a few seconds ago, you were trying to run away. And I don't think that they had the information to suggest that, you know, now's the time to turn around. So maybe a bit too impulsive by Legion Commander. Like, recognizing that you could make a kill, but that's, you know, making a kill is not the be all and end all of that decision.
And now Medusa pops the ult for pretty much nothing up in top lane. She's gonna get to farm this out, but that's a really long cooldown. I was going to say before all of this happened that they had done a good job on Danish Bears of stalling the kind of net worth and gold deficits that were coming out, but it's right back up there for Adfinem. They're slowly but surely just pulling ahead in this game.
Yeah, I mean that's part of why it's interesting for Hester Rotten to be playing so aggressively and constantly going for kills, because actually the Danish Bears agenda is kind of like just stay in the game and eventually we'll win. Obviously, it's arguable that if you're not going for kills, if you're not contesting actively, then the enemy team just snowballs and gets further and further ahead, and then you can't do anything. But at the same time, I feel like you have to show some restraint. You have to like go for the careful or safer kills. And looks like they want to try contest Rosh. Overwhelming odds will be really powerful here. Illuminate Void is level 2, and Rosh dies too quickly.
Yeah, it fell so fast. They've got Inner Beast. They've got all of the passives coming out of the Necronomicon creeps, and now they've got an IO in trouble. They were indicating that they wanted to go on Ace for the Primal Roar, but they decide against it, and now look at how quickly this tower falls. All the units getting buffed up.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Danish Bears really need Blade Mail to be finished in Legion Con. It's only 300 gold away, because it's if Legion Con has Blade Mail, that means she can actually make solo kills. She doesn't need the OD to commit, and it's actually fine then. If the Legion's going in, killing someone, dying, that's probably fine for the way the Danish Bears want to progress the game. But it's not okay for Legion to go in, force the OD to go in, and then they end up both dying for that one kill. That kind of situation they want to avoid. So Blade Mail pickup's going to come soon. It's going to be a very big pickup. Still need to see how Danish Bears plan on like spreading out the map and giving the Medusa that farm. But all things considered, she's not that far behind. I mean, she's only slightly behind the Viper. The Weaver's very far ahead of everyone, and the Weaver's a problem that's going to be very difficult for Danish Bears to contain. But outside of the Weaver, if we like don't focus on the Weaver, they're not really that far behind in terms of like individual one hero to one hero net worth. Like Beastmaster, sure, he's very rich, but it's gold in Necros, it's gold in Vlads. It does one particular thing.
I think though that's really scary, right? The Beastmaster is kind of already set. He can certainly get more items, but a Beastmaster that already has Vlad's and Necro 3, he's peaked. He's at a power peak for the time in the game.
Yeah, he is peaking. But then so it's like you deal with the fact that he's peaking with the same game plan I was talking about before, like just try and stay in the game. So that's not something special you need to be worried about. Whereas the Weaver, that's a hero that's scaling out of control. It's actually gonna carry against you. So in terms of the like where I see the net worth lead, aside from the fact that Adfinem could threaten like objectives, the Weaver's what's scary, because the Beastmaster's gold is just about the threatening of those objectives.
Now they take another quick tower. These things melt. I don't know what you do. It's kind of ironic because Weaver, of course, not a hero who super cares about attack speed, but you'll take it in these contexts. And the Coddle Blast doesn't do enough. It's still Illuminate a level 2. Oh, they're gonna have to try to go for it again. The blind comes out. Their tower is falling, though. The Hand of God comes out. Suddenly everything all healed up. And after all is said and done, 400, less than 400 health left on that tower.
I'll definitely tell you, in retrospect, Noyle's probably wishing that he maxed Illuminate first. It's kind of like it just tells you that this build on the Keeper of the Light suggests that they never expected that they'd be losing this badly this early on. They definitely would have wanted to have maxed out Illuminate before their high ground got pushed the first time. And the max Chakra build, we saw how it worked with like the Wisp with the Medusa. Like, okay, fine, casting Chakra then on the Wisp or the Medusa, it's effectively like a really big heal, which seems like, you know, like you've made Chakra Magic into like the eating of cheese, which seems a bit unfair, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as we discussed before, if the damage factor is not there yet, then staying alive a bit longer just doesn't do that much. We'll see a smoke wrap around and... Did they see Oracle?
I don't think they saw Oracle, but they don't know about these heroes on the left side here. Oh, the duel is gonna come out onto the Spartan. They're trying to get it, they're not able to. Again, false promise, proving to be their weakness. They might actually... No, I don't think they're even getting this after the fact with the double heal. They do manage to. Madara going in on the backlines onto Noya, and now there is the ult coming out from Medusa. Will Noya live? Is being healed up by the IO, but what do they have to stop this Weaver? Just gonna pick the rest of them apart. The TP out from Ace. He burns down before he can get away. And this is just... Danish Bears are being overrun by units.
Dire's middle tower
Yeah, and
is
that's not
under
a
attack.
worthwhile trade for them at all. I mean, they didn't even get the duel win, but even if they did, killing Chen for Medusa, no way. Not a chance.
Dire's middle tower has
And now the
fallen.
push is coming. There is no more blind because that's going to be going off of cooldown. The ult coming out of cooldown in a second. And Weaver even could just slow siege this tower with the Geminate
Dire's
attack.
structures are
It's
fortified.
feeling like Advenom have
Dire's top tower
gotten off
is
a
under
really good
attack.
draft here. And Thug, yeah,
Radiant's
he's just
bottom
gonna go
tower
up on that
is
high
under
ground using
attack.
that Aegis.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
I don't
Still,
know what they do.
Still only level 2 eliminate. They need to somehow get a lot of damage output from the Blade Mail on the Legion and from the OD with the ulti and the right clicks, but
Dire's bottom
they,
barracks
right
are
now it
under
looks like Danish
attack.
players are too afraid to even like force out the Aegis. Viper's saying like, come on, take my Aegis. Although, now they want to
Radiant's
charge forward
bottom
as the
tower
retreats
is
is there,
under
although
attack.
they might expect Adphanum to TP some people out and they can get stragglers, but actually, okay, up until this point they were all there together, and if Danish players had caught them, they might have been in trouble actually.
I think they may have also taken really good account of the Roshan timer. The Aegis just expired. So maybe they were hoping that the Viper overextended. You know, you can be a few seconds off there, you think you're getting an Aegis refresh and it's on cooldown, but we're seeing a
Yeah.
over 12k net worth lead and over 10,000 experience in
Dire's
favor of
top tower
Adfinem.
is under attack.
No, you're right, so it was definitely the Aegis. Something interesting about Adphanum, you can tell me because you've probably actually seen them more of them than I have, but all the games I've watched of theirs and cast of theirs, they seem to be a team that's not at all afraid of going high ground. Like when they have a lead, they just go. And it's quite an impressive quality to have because a lot of teams really, really struggle. Like a lot of teams are nervous about like, what if we throw going high ground? And Adphanum just don't seem to lack that confidence at all.
Okay, so it looks like, as you said, here comes the high ground push. So Spartan just pounding away on Ace with all of these units, and now Viper right up in their faces. Medusa's ult comes out, but they may have already lost the Coddle, and maybe more. A Stoneform is pop, but it's not doing enough. Primal Roar onto the ult so that the duel won't be won. Maybe next time does get very low. She at least gets a kill there. Legion Commander running away with such a little amount of health and runs right into a Viper. They do buy back on 2 on Danish Bears. They're gonna see what they can do here, but again, they just don't have the damage, it feels like. There's a blink on the OD, trying to make something happen. Legion Commander jumps back in. She's only got 30 extra damage, I believe, to her name, and now she's on buyback. Keeper of the Light dies in the back lines. Legion Commander, again, she's being slowed up. The poach doesn't help that way. Astral Imprisonment hoping to save her, but the moment Madara's back, that Deso has her name on it. And yeah, here comes Madara. They return a little bit of damage, but it's not enough. And those were diebacks on 2. Madara still poking around. They do finally bring down that raid boss, but Ace now in a bad spot. Just gonna get slowed down. Io trying to tether up, let Ace fight, but goodness, they take too much damage.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Legion Commander's a particularly weak hero to buy back on because, like, one of her biggest weaknesses is that she doesn't really do a whole lot outside of duels. It's quite difficult. It's surprising actually, even though overwhelming odds gives you like very high move speed. It's quite difficult to force the enemy team to deal with you. Partially because a lot of her strength comes from the moment of courage. So sure, you use overwhelming odds, you get that speed, you right click people, but nothing's hitting you,
Radiant
and so
structures
you're
are
not
fortified.
proccing, and you're also not blade
Radiant's
mailing.
top tower
So your
is
two
under
main sources of
attack.
damage just aren't happening unless you're dueling people, so I mean, that buyback was desperation, they had to. Eventually they bought back the OD as well, before that they bought back the Kotl.
Radiant's top
It's
tower
kind of just
has
recognition
fallen.
by Danish players that they're on their last legs, and I think what I was saying before that push started, I don't know if you have you seen that
Yeah,
Finem
yeah,
play
they-
game where like
So they're very disciplined. We say similar stuff about Liquid, but Advenom right now, it feels like we've seen them also in other games. You know, they will be very patient and wait for their opponents to make a mistake if they're behind, and then capitalize on it in ways that I haven't seen a whole bunch of teams do so well outside of the tier 1 teams. It's just a trait that tier 2 teams don't generally have.
yeah, it's a very particular skill. There's a lot of teams that are good at winning early games, and if like winning the early game or the lane stage was enough to like make you a top team, there's probably 30 or 40 more teams in Europe that would be top teams. But it's a particular skill to, once you have some kind of lead, know how to appropriately like manage the game. Can you go high ground now? Should you be waiting to go when you can go, to not go when you shouldn't go? Those kinds of things. So I definitely agree. It's something impressive about this team, and maybe part of it is that the 3 core members have been playing together for such a long time, or like they split for a while, but ultimately it's a group of players who know each other very well, and I think that maybe helps with confidence and discipline sometimes.
I'm not sure exactly what it is, but they are playing much better. on this patch, I'm trying to think of when exactly kind of the penny dropped where they got a lot better, but I'm not sure. It just seems like since this patch, they've been winning a lot of games, come back a lot stronger. So, either way, Roshan gonna be falling soon because they're just gonna drop all of their units and kill it lickety split. And now Danish Bears, they're gonna have to fight into Aegis again with a number of their buybacks on cooldown. It's just they actually don't have any right now. Just no buybacks for Danish Bears.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, I still feel like for Danish Bears to come out on top, barring Adfinem just making lots and lots of awful errors, that you have to get value out of Legion's duel. Like, you have to kill an important hero with the duel. And how do you do that against Oracle, Chen, even the Beastmaster? I don't know, it just seems... It seems like a very, very difficult position for Danish Bears. And also, I'll remind again, Cuddle still doesn't have level 4 Illuminates even. It's finally gotten to level 3, but... It's, I don't know, maybe the biggest strength for Danish Bears is their Medusa, try and trick people into thinking they can dive her, but I actually think that Adfinem are at a point where maybe they can just go on her.
Oh gosh, yeah, and they're going in. They already popped her Lincoln. She pops that ult. There's a lot of people in her base. Maybe she'll be able to get this, but they just jump past her. Primal Roar onto the Io. Madara is in their base, ripping up their faces. Skylark just throwing out axes, doing damage to everyone he can. Ace, they try to heal him up with the Io, but this is going to be it. They have the OD up in the air as well. They're working on the racks. The buybacks are all on cooldown. The death timers are super long. And that's it. That's the call.
Yeah, the one big mistake they maybe could have made is focusing Medusa, and they do, again, it shows discipline. Like, they pretty much ignored her initially. They went straight for the Legion, recognizing that that hero has to, like, do important damage to them in order for them to possibly lose the fight. And then they go back to Medusa and kill everyone else, so just expertly played and drafted by Adfinem from the start to finish, and I don't know if Danish Bears should beat themselves up too much. I feel like Adfinem kind of exploited the fact that Danish Bears had a draft that is not that together early on. They had a draft that like gets very strong if it gets past that early hump, but Adfinem were like, well, you're not getting past that. We're just going to take you out of the game before you even get there, and probably we'll see Danish Bears come back with a different kind of draft the next game. That's the only thing I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think a lot of this was on draft. It was a very greedy lineup by Danish Bears, one that really did require their opponents not to play the early game well. So we'll see what happens in game 2. Once again, I'm Llama Down Under. I'm joined by Scant. You can see our Twitter handles in the top right corner. Love any and all feedback for making the casting more enjoyable for you, and we'll see you after this short wait.